hidden behind Cassie. Look at
Adoption is such an exciting thing, and we've been, our family's been anticipating this moment for, almost 5 years now. While it's such an exciting time for our family, there's a certain amount of nervousness too that we experience, wondering, what it's going to be like for him, because as excited as we are, and we hope that he's, just as excited to know that there's a family coming, for him it's going to be such a, such a new experience.
A year ago, when we were approaching Christmas of 2015, and as we were approaching Christmas, we were struggling with whether or not we were going to move forward with the adoption. We had had our dossier in for a year at that point. We had had no movement. We had heard nothing about a child being matched with us, and we were beginning to feel like maybe this isn't going to happen. And we got some medical news about Tracy that was a little bit challenging, and we knew that there was a high likelihood that the medical news would mean that Tracy would not be able to have children. And as I was driving down the road to that doctor's appointment, we got the email that we had been matched with a little boy. And I just remember crying, and I dried up my tears, and I got to the parking lot, and I told Tracy, I said, you gotta come sit in the car with me for a second before we go into the doctor's office. And I pulled up this picture he sent me, and we both just cried in the car and celebrated. And we walked into this doctor's appointment, and they said, Tracy's going to have surgery, and she's not going to be able to have children, and there's some things that are concerning here, but we're going to have to take care of it. And it was so amazing, the work of the Lord, because there was no worry, there was no frustration, there was no anger. I mean, the doctor had to think we were nuts, but it was just the perfect timing of God. I mean, we're talking within weeks of us saying, you know what, I think we're about done. And the day that we found out biologically we were done having children was the moment when the Lord said, well, this is your new child.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome aboard Delta Flight 200. Flight and flight attendants, prepare the cabin for departure.
I was reading yesterday morning in the Psalms, and it's amazing how just so many scriptures have just encouraged us along the way. And yesterday morning, as I was reading, I read a psalm that said, "Don't be impatient for the Lord to act. Travel steadily along his path. He will honor you, and he will give you the land." And, this has been a long process. It's been 3 years, and, it's been hard to be patient. You're impatient. You're ready for this to happen. And as I read that scripture, I thought, gosh, we have waited on the Lord a long time, and finally we are about to receive the land. We're about to receive this gift that he's prepared for us, and we're just so anxious to be there and to see this gift that the Lord has given us. Now it's Sunday morning, and we are finally on the road to Lesotho. We've got about a 4 or 5 hour drive to Lesotho, and it's just absolutely beautiful scenery out and about. It's a really lovely drive, but we're so excited. It's so hard to fathom that you've been waiting for this day for over 3 years now. We've been looking forward to this day, and it's amazing that we're on the way now. We're on the road to Lesotho right now, and tomorrow will be the day that we go pick up our son. And so we're just anxious to get there. We're excited, we're nervous, but anyway, we're thankful that we are finally at this point.
So So this is the day we've been waiting for a long time, at least 3 or 4 years now. We're literally in the next 30 minutes gonna meet the social worker for our son, and we're gonna go meet him and bring him home. And I was laying in bed this morning thinking about just this, going to meet him, and it's maybe one of the first times in my life that I just don't know how to feel, to be honest with you. I want to be excited, but I'm nervous, I'm terrified, and I don't know how he's going to respond, and I don't know, is he going to be excited for us? Is he going to be sad to leave, his friends at the orphanage? There's just so many unknowns for us right now, and so today is a bit overwhelming as we kind of think about going and picking him up, but we're hopeful and we're trusting the Lord that the Lord has prepared the way, and he's made the way for us, and that today we're going to go pick him up, and undoubtedly there's going to be some good and there's going to be some challenge, but he's going to be a part of our family soon, and I'm just ready for that to happen. And I think my girls are ready for that to happen too.
It was hard to sleep on Sunday evening, just getting ready for Monday, knowing that the day that we'd been waiting for years now was finally here. And my heart was just racing, just with so much just excitement and nervousness, just not knowing what the day was going to go like.
We drove over there with the social worker, and Tracy and I and the girls, just a lot of nervous anticipation, excitement, and I think Tracy in particular was really kind of caught up and overwhelmed with emotion on the way there.
Just getting in the car and driving over there, it was only maybe a 15 or 20 minute drive, but just all of these emotions were just going through my head, and feeling so excited and yet so nervous to meet this little person that we felt like we knew and we loved, but we'd never met him before. We pulled into the orphanage Monday morning, and we all got out of the car, and we went on into the room, and we met with several people from the government and the social workers, and we it seemed like a long time. I mean, I don't know, we were probably only in there for maybe 30 minutes, but it seemed like an eternity, and I kept thinking, when's it going to be time for him to come in?
And then they shared with us in detail about Lepatisani and about his background, his history, his medicals, those sorts of things.
Anyway, and then it came time, to bring him in, and still my heart is just racing, thinking, is he gonna like us? Is he not gonna like us?
And then they brought him in, and he was a little timid at first and kind of stood off, and they said, go hug your mom and go hug your dad, and so he did. He came over to us, and we got to hug him.
You just imagine like they run up to you and they're gonna just give you a big hug, but you're a stranger at the moment to them. And Mom and Yanni said, go ahead and hug your parents. And so hug your mom and your dad. And he did. He came over, first to Micah, and he kind of, leaned up against us, and we were able to wrap our arms around him, and just our hearts were just overwhelmed at the thought that he's with us now, and it just seems so surreal, something we've anticipated for so long, and now we're here, now it's happening, and his smile just lit up the room a couple different times when we asked him questions. And when it came time to leave the orphanage, I wondered, would that be hard for him, but he was the first one in the car, and he was waiting on us. And of course we were saying goodbye to the people at the orphanage, and Mom and Yanni was just sharing a lot of her heart with me, and I was sharing with her, and it was just a very precious time. But I think while we were having that conversation, Haddon, he was already in the car. He was ready to go. I mean, he was, no reservation whatsoever. He was ready to go with his new family, and And that just warmed my heart. It felt like all the prayers that we had prayed had been answered. He was excited to be with us, and we were overwhelmed and overjoyed to be with him.
The incredible picture of the gospel, we talk about this with adoption, but it's so real. I mean, he's been so disappointed and so let down at times because of family, and now he's been given a new family, and we have wanted him and have pursued him for so long and at such great cost, and now he's here, and it doesn't even begin to touch the tip of the iceberg of what the gospel actually accomplishes for us, but it's such a picture, it's such a reflection of all that's sort of built up in the gospel, and we couldn't be more grateful, we couldn't be more thankful to the Lord.